Sup, nerds? If I had a nickel for every time the Fantastic Four were put into a cinematic form, I'd have 5 nickels. I'd have 20 cents. I should have picked like hundreds of dollars for this to work.
Now, what's interesting, though, is raise your hand if you've seen all of them.
I've only seen the one.
Now, raise your hand if you've seen only 2 of the 5 in theaters.
Oh, shut up. He thinks he's cool.
Now, raise your hand if you've only ever seen the first one and the last one, not the middle 3 that were actually wide released for the most part in theaters. Yes, folks, I saw Roger Corman's version in a theater.
How, I do not know, which is something I envy because, he got to see the one that's supposed to be lost media, which is, wow.
I compare it to, well, see, this is the bad part. No matter how bad Star Wars gets, the holiday special is always going to be the worst thing ever made. Really. I can't say the same thing about Fantastic Four because Roger Corman's is not the worst, but is not great.
No, and it's unfortunate because they truly thought they were making a movie. They put in the time and the effort, and it just turned out to be a tax write-off. And
yeah, a way for Fox to keep the rights to the Fantastic Four.
Exactly.
Yeah,
which
so sad.
We've seen with DC recently with Batgirl and the Scoob movie, and then Coyote v. Acme, which is now getting a theatrical release. But it hurts that the first time the Fantastic Four were supposed to hit the silver screen, Fox was just like,
yeah, all a ploy. Anywho, that brings us to modern day. So up to this point, in my opinion, we really only had 2 to pick from.
Yeah.
And that was the Jessica Alba, Michael Chiklis as the Thing versions of the Fantastic Four. And they're not the worst things ever.
Yeah.
But we've never seen anything better, so we couldn't really say, oh, wow, those are the best.
Exactly. And of the 2, as much as they're both films, I won't say whether they're good or bad, I do greatly appreciate the camp in the Chris Evans version because that's the Fantastic Four to me. I appreciate what they've become over time and how different comic writers have given them a lot more depth. But I mean, come on.
Well, and we have an amazing payoff by way of Deadpool 3 that makes it even better.
He's going to say the thing. Flame on! What?
Beautiful. And I don't know how they kept it under wraps.
I know, right? That's a brilliant case of, and I won't go too far in, using jackass rumor mills on the internet to your advantage because they made so many rumors that were convincing that you didn't know what was real or not.
Yeah. And then even Ryan Reynolds embraced it and said,
exactly,
we're just putting out fake stuff, so you guys have no clue.
Exactly. And that is how, especially with how bad leakers have gotten and how bad rumor mills have gotten, that's just how you should do it now. Fight fire with fire. Anyways, so
eventually we'll talk about
I know,
the topic
right?
You brought up.
This is a really bad intro. The new Fantastic Four First Steps. Can you tell how many members are in the team?
Which is weird that at the end, I would say there is 6. Because I don't know how you can't take into account little friend, the housekeeper, Herbie. Yeah.
Are you blanking on Herbie's name?
No. I was leading up to that because it's like, I really, like, I think Herbie got them out of more messes than actually sometimes Reed.
I was going to say, what I really appreciated with this new film is that I enjoy Reed Richards as a character because my father and I think very similarly, and unfortunately, we think very similarly to Reed.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Liar. We, like Reed, will consider damn near every possibility in our heads, even the dark ones that you should never do. If we're driving on the road, there will be that thought that's like, what if we just rammed people off the road we don't like? Obviously, we wouldn't do it, but the thought's there, and it's a possibility. I'm not saying I'm as smart as Reed Richards. God, no. I don't think I'd ever want that, but we do think in that way, that it's like, well, every possibility. And so I appreciate that it was shown that his massive intellect was not the thing that saved them at the end of the day.
And it was nice to see such a contrast in his intelligence and her empathy, and which one wins out the empathy, her speech, her speech,
her defining monologue, excuse
she
you.
addresses like everybody in the world, New York City, and is like, no, we're family. And it's like, we don't do that. It's like, tear in my eye. I mean, I've made that choice. He's still here, so.
Ow.
I took on Galactus, turned him away.
Liar. He's the least flexible man I've ever met.
No proof.
You're like the antithesis of Mr. Fantastic.
I didn't say I was Mr. Fantastic. I'm Johnny Storm.
You're lukewarm at best. But and that's another thing I really appreciated. They nailed the Fantastic Four dynamic, which, from what I've seen of the Chris Evans Fantastic Four, they also had that to an extent.
I'll give you a point too. Michael B. Jordan really nailed it. I mean, it's hard to really find anything good about that movie, but Michael B. Jordan gave it a new perspective on that.
And it's this new one really nailed the dynamic across the team. You have Johnny, who's the self-assured jackass, but there's now new depth that it's more like he just does that because it's his form of humor and connection. It's how he just connects with people. He doesn't do it maliciously. And
despite his arrogance, he still has the intelligence because he kind of figures out the problem. It solves it.
It's
or
amazing.
Finds a solution.
I know, right? He's very good linguist in this film. That was pretty cool to see. You have Ben Grimm, and you can definitely see the beginnings of the Thing character arc where it's like, oh God, I'm no longer human. But he's still got the confidence to be the hero and have fun. You have...
Wait a minute, my turn too.
Oh,
I really enjoyed, and I can't say his name. I am so sorry. I just rewatched The Punisher, season 1, and he is the main person along with the Punisher.
Is it like Eben Moss Bachrach or something like that?
He said it. But he's such an amazing actor. You don't really even notice him. So you're like, oh, there's Ben Grimm. And it's like, no, there's a dude who's doing that.
Exactly.
And I want to say faithless, but I just don't believe in organized religion. I really enjoyed how they kept his background and used the synagogue as the point where all hell's breaking loose. They don't believe in hell, but it breaking loose. So he goes there to find his solace. And Natasha Lyonne, I had no idea she was in this movie. And I hope she plays bigger roles in the future because she's an amazing actress. But that was really cool how they had that.
And I appreciate that it was very much an homage and a faithful homage to the king of comics himself, Jack Kirby. And I know that title can go to a lot of different people, but it was very nice that a lot of this film was really just paying respect to Jack Kirby.
To that end, what universe are we in?
828, which, if you stayed to the end, is Jack Kirby's birthday day month.
I did not catch that until the end. I was not that quick.
No, I did not know it was his birthday. When I realized that it was his birthday, I thought that was pretty cool.
To be honest, I have been more fascinated this whole time by Sue Storm, played by Vanessa Kirby. I was like, that is awesome how that just worked out. Kismet.
Yes. And she nails it as Stu. Whoa. Excuse me. Stu Storm.
And speaking of Stu Storm,
the Winvisible woman.
What I love is, and we saw this with Superman, and this is not the first time we've ever seen this, we just jumped right in.
I know,
like,
right?
She's pregnant. And I'm like, I thought that would be like the 5th movie. Like, okay, cool.
I really appreciate these superhero movies that have well-established superheroes in them skipping the origins, because everybody knows Batman's origin, everybody knows Superman's origin, everybody knows the Fantastic Four, everybody knows Spider-Man. If you don't, what rock have you been living under? But for the most part, we all know the story, and they don't skip it, they don't ignore it, they still address it, but they do it very well so that it's like, oh yeah, this is what happened, let's focus on what's important. Sue Storm is having a child. Reed Richards and the Fantastic Four have organized the Future Foundation. Great comic book point out. So happy that that's being brought into the MCU. And Galactus is now a problem. And you really just dive right into the major conflict.
And I really enjoyed how they set up early on, as we will talk about her and Pedro Pascal together, this dynamic of he is almost a stereotypical male with his response to finding out she's pregnant. He's both thrilled and freaked out, to her response, and I can only assume what it's like to be a mother. And it just, that leads up to what we had talked about earlier with Reed is just thinking of all possibilities, because that's what he is and who he is, Whereas Vanessa, there's one possibility, not Vanessa, I'm sorry, Sue Storm, that there's one possibility that is not going to happen ever.
Exactly.
And it starts with jokes of Reed, and it just builds up to that point, and you really see this disconnect, which is awesome. I'm not a huge follower of the Fantastic Four in the comic books, but I know these things have happened. Families argue, man. Families get in fights, and they include the world as a family in this one. But when you see Reed and Sue like go that way, like, oh my God, no, not the perfect parents. You can't fight.
Mom and Dad are fighting again.
And to see those moments, and pause right here, Allison, if you're watching.
Skip forward.
It sadly proves women are right most of the time, because Sue was right.
And any young man who is unmarried or wants to be in a relationship with a woman, take that to heart. And I don't mean that in a misogynist way that women are always right. They're always right. You can't win. And that's a good thing.
The only time they're wrong is when they're nowhere in earshot. And if you don't believe me, watch Key and Peele.
If she watches this video, we're dead.
Well, she's nowhere in the room.
He's doomed us.
I told her to pause it, dude.
If we don't make more videos, we died. That's...
Welcome back, Allison. So we have the ultimate dad of movies of late, Pedro Pascal. He previously was like a father figure with people, but now he actually has a child in a movie.
I know. It's very interesting to see, and I would like to argue that Dad of the Summer has to go to Pa Kent and Superman.
Yes.
But Pedro Pascal's Mr. Fantastic comes in a close second. And my God, Mom of the Year with contention with Ma Kent absolutely is Sue Storm. Because holy crap, she goes to the literal ends of the universe for Franklin. And it is so heartwarming to see. And I mean literal, because they literally are at a black hole, which is the definition of the end of the universe. So,
well, and it's literally one against the world, with maybe at best 3 leaning towards saving Franklin. But because of her decision, they're forced to come up with an alternate plan, which of course finally works, but not the way they intended. Which then goes to Reed, when he kept running tests on Sue to find out what could be wrong with Franklin. That's every dad. I'm sure it's every mom. I can't speak for the mom, but every dad, like, I want to know, is something wrong? Are they okay? I'm not okay because I'm a mutant. I know she's a mutant. Is that one going to be okay?
And by mutant, we don't mean...
not X-Men. I mean different.
Literal genetic mutations in their core structure, because that's literally how that's how all superpowers work. If you don't know that, what rock have you been living under?
Why are you watching us? That's all we talk about.
Right? We're not the biggest nerds ever. No. But it's so amazing to see that they really paint Reed as fallible, because I feel like too often, especially with early Fantastic Four, is that Reed was the everyman. He would always be the one to solve the problems. And more often in modern tellings of Fantastic Four, Reed isn't the savior. He isn't the perfect man. And I always appreciate that, because what really defines Reed Richards as a character is that his intelligence is not always the solution. And that's very true. You can't solve everything with a chalkboard and a math equation. I love that moment where he's like at the end of his rope and he goes to the chalkboard and he can't solve it that way. And it's just such a great character piece for him.
And similarly, when he goes to put Franklin in the machine that last time, and he's like, no test is going to tell me something I don't know. You'll let me know when you're ready. And once again, you cannot predict, you cannot accurately, 100%, human nature. You just can't. Nothing. Anything in world environment, you can't predict it. So he is taking the science out of it and allowing the humanity to tell him what needs to happen, which is exactly what Vanessa has done. And I'm assuming as we get further, we'll find out, also because of his powers, that he really is a combination, Franklin, of his 2 parents.
What I really appreciate about this is that it shows why Reed Richards is who he is, because one of the greatest parts of the 2016 Secret Wars run in the comics, which if you haven't read it, go read it, because it's great source material for what they're cooking up. The defining factor between the Maker, who is the Reed Richards of the Ultimate Universe, and the Reed Richards we know, is the found family he connects with with Sue Storm, with Johnny Storm, with Ben Grimm, with Franklin Storm, Sue and Johnny's father. That group of friends and family he creates. Herbie.
Thank you.
Excuse me. And then Franklin Richards. Yeah, there's a lot of repeating names, and there's a lot that goes with the Fantastic Four. Peter Parker. Anyways, that family he finds with himself and the compassion they teach him is the defining factor between what makes Reed a hero and what makes him a villain. And it's so beautiful how they just ever so lightly touch on it with this film, and that you see Reed dip into that very cold, almost robotic mindset, but then he's brought back by his friends and family.
One of the big things about this film that it almost saddened me that the creators of these comic books are pretty much long gone. That Jack Kirby did not get to see the aesthetic that they used to film this, because it's one of the closest odes to an actual comic book panel from the beginning, the creation. And we don't talk about origin story. I'm talking about how it looks compared to what he was making at the time. And it is so beautiful the way they use the color tones, the sort of 60s aesthetic for architecture. It's so beautiful, but it was modern technology.
I can only imagine the color grading work and effort that had to go into this, because if you know anything about making film, color grading is a bitch. I will not put it lightly, but when it works, it is immaculate, and they did it so well here. And I appreciate that they put so much thought and care to the prop design. Herbie uses a cassette for his
reel-to-reel tapes.
Exactly, for his functioning. They scratch the audio recordings onto master copy vinyls, which is so funny to me because I collect vinyl. So it's like, oh yes, of course, a society that really didn't move past the 60s technologically, but still advanced the technology, would absolutely use vinyl as a recording system, because master copies, not vinyl printing copies, are the best possible audio form you could get. That's not up for debate.
It's not.
Exactly.
As much as I love digital, and digital is beautiful and sounds beautiful, vinyl, you can record a wider range of the spectrum. Film, very similar. Digital's catching up, but you can just do more with film and vinyl.
And that's, again, I want to say, master copy, what they print on solid metal, is perfect sound. It's the exact same through and through every time you play it. The copies they make when they go to reprint it will obviously have more wear and tear because they're less durable. Metal is pretty damn durable if you didn't know. But it's the same idea, that they are printing it on a master copy, and that's going to be the best possible sound recording, which I really appreciated this. They used Chekhov's gun with the master copy that Reed gives Johnny at the beginning.
Here is the nerdiness I live with and I created. He said that in the theater. He literally turned to me and goes, Chekhov's gun. I'm like, I know, dude. Yeah. Cracked me up, and I'm proud of him, but it was just funny.
Which leads into probably my favorite character of the entire film, the Silver Surfer, Shalabal.
I have never understood or cared for the Silver Surfer. Like, it's not that I hate the character, whoever's turning into the Silver. It's not that. It's just, I was like, really? Galactus needs a servant? This is stupid.
What
this version? Total appreciation.
Yes, and what I love is that Silver Surfer in the Golden Age is absolutely a product of Golden Age comics writing. I mean, it's a dude.
You know what's cool? Surfing.
Like, come on. How high were Jack Kirby and Stan Lee when they came up with the idea of a silver-plated dude on a surfboard?
The only thing that's surprising is it wasn't gold.
I know, right?
That's literally the only thing that surprises me about this.
I feel like at the time they were so high, they knew gold would be too tacky.
Yeah, maybe.
Which I hope is the case, because it means they then created a character that seemingly had no potential, but to me has become one of the best applications of Golden Age writing, because I love the stories where they really dive into the fact that the Silver Surfer is a mortal being, given immortal powers, and forced to serve Galactus without question. Because my favorite aspect of the Silver Surfer is that he or she, depending on the version, is an undying slave to Galactus and cannot escape that. And it creates a very good tension when addressed correctly.
And I like this origin story because It wasn't a like vampire, you get this great power, but you got to do this, or a genie. It was like, no, she sacrificed her whole planet because that's where Galactus was going. She would serve him if the planet was left alone.
Exactly. And it adds depth to Galactus that he's not without empathy or morals. Obviously, any good rendition of Galactus will show that he's a force of nature, but he's still a conscious being. So he's a force of nature with thought. And so the fact that he was willing to accept Shalabal's sacrifice shows that he is not without bargaining, without consciousness, without some form of empathy.
Well, and it foreshadows that he is giving Earth a chance. They have to give up this one thing, but it's no longer the individual's choice, which she points out.
Yes.
It is the parent's choice for the child.
Yes. And I want to point out that I have found a lot of discourse on the internet thinking that Galactus wants to eat Franklin. No. Are you stupid? Did you fall asleep during the middle of the movie? Have you never even touched a Fantastic Four comic? That last one I understand. The whole point is that Franklin has the power cosmic, which allows him to take on the Hunger Galactus experiences.
But that's where I think there's a disconnect in the word hunger, and people just don't think beyond, oh, I'm going to eat them.
You're going to eat the babies.
Yeah, I can see that. But no, that's not what was intended.
No.
Ever.
In many storylines with Franklin, the whole point is that whether it's Kang or Galactus or the Silver Surfer or God knows who's doing space shit, they are trying to make Franklin the next Herald, because then they don't have to keep doing that crap. Galactus hates living, so he wants to give Franklin his hunger so he can die. Yeah. That's the whole point.
And he'll be saved.
Exactly. So, yeah.
And to that end, man, I also hate Galactus. Because it's like, really? Like, how are you going to stop this dude? And outside of the comics, how are you going to portray this in a movie? Seriously?
Big man!
Obviously, we've failed in the past.
Oh, my God. Cloud.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, what are we going to do? Dormammu again? Okay, whatever. So the way they did it.
But Dormammu was still pretty good for Dormammu.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I did not want to see a Galactus.
I've come to bargain.
Think like that. Like previous Fantastic Fours we've seen.
Yeah.
So and I don't remember the actor's name. He was in The Witch.
Yes.
Oh, man.
He was still so amazing.
Yes. I granted know it was CG because they don't have an actor that huge and they're not doing Godzilla special effects. But they still mimicked his movements, actions, and his voice. And it was like, wow. His portrayal was awesome.
I want
Galactus 1 like Godzilla 1?
I want a very crappy reproduction where somebody wears a Galactus suit and they green screen it.
It is too bad Roger Corman has passed.
I know.
Because that could have been the Fantastic Four sequel we've all been waiting for.
So please, if somebody has the free time and the editing know-how, not us because we're lazy, please do that. It would be so funny. But I really appreciate the rendition of Galactus and Silver Surfer in this because it really demonstrates that tension between the two, that the Silver Surfer is an unwilling servant and Galactus is just really goddamn hungry. He smoked the cosmic weed and got the power cosmic.
Forever.
Yeah, don't... Trust me, guys, if you go to planet Zorbus 12 and get offered death sticks, do not take them. You will have planet-sized hunger.
Back to Kirby. And Stan Lee. I don't want to forget Stan Lee. I know there's this... Stan Lee got all the credit for all these comic books. Well, this one, his idea, definitely story. They worked together to create this. So I don't want to forget him in this. I believe, if my memory serves, the first villain we see. And it's ode to the very beginning. I love it. And Paul, I can never remember his name, who plays Mole Man.
Mole Man.
What's his name? I can't remember.
I'm blanking on it too.
He is fantastic. He's now in Naked Gun, so go see that one. But his rendition, and I thought it was going to be a one and done, and just like a wink, wink, okay. They bring him back to help save the planet.
Yes. And
oh my goodness.
Best application of Mole Man as a character. Yeah. Because, again, another byproduct of Golden Age comics being stupid. It's like, and by stupid I mean not complex or deep in any way, but charming nonetheless, is that you then get to see that they fleshed out Mole Man. He's not just the megalomaniac weirdo from the Subterranea who wants to take over. He has depth, he has character, and I love his arc in this, however small, that it's like, okay, yeah, I'll help out, because, why do I want to save Earth? I'm one of the idiots who lives on it.
And it was perfect because you have Vanessa. I keep doing that. Vanessa Kirby's Sue Storm is negotiating the deal with him to solve things. And I think at one point Reed screwed it up, and so she had to fix it again.
Which I love because you see that it's men being men. Mole Man is picking a fight with Reed, and Reed is falling for the fight being picked. And also, what was the insult he made against Johnny? It was did you let your sister dress you or something like that? It was like, oh.
That brings up another great point. The humor associated with Johnny, but not necessarily Johnny giving it. Like when he finds out the Silver Surfer is female, there's a lot of jokes about him being attracted to her, dating her, whatever, and then he takes it a step further with, well, can you separate from the board? From the surfboard, can you separate? And it just becomes
a part of you.
It becomes a hilarious running joke with Ben Grimm. They're like, stop hitting on the silver alien.
Yes.
Beautiful.
I really appreciated that change because Johnny far too often has dipped into chauvinist territory in his writing. So to see it in a more positive light, that it's almost self-deprecating to an extent, was pretty funny. Like, I love the joke that it's like, Johnny had this whole moment with a hot space alien, and maybe he's in love or not.
And Ben really does have a lot of those funny lines. And maybe the second funniest moment in the whole thing. So this is what's great is we have a Fantastic Four movie that we're watching. Within the movie, there is an animation cartoon about them telling their stories. And Ben hates it. Only one. Everybody else is like, oh, that's fun. Ben hates it because they use his infamous quote, it's clobbering time.
It's clobbering time.
And he's like, I don't say that. So they are trying to goad him the whole movie into saying it. And it's finally at the end as Johnny's flying around. Say it. No. Say it. No. Say it. It's clobbering time. And it's like beautiful.
Yes. And
beautiful.
I love that because it's a reference in part to the Chris Evans one where you have the Thing doll, and I'm pretty sure Ben crushes it, or maybe it's Johnny burns it or something. But it was very much a cute tongue-in-cheek nod to that. And that the movie just has that beautiful comic book humor where it's like it knows it's a comic book movie, but it doesn't try to make it a whole meta commentary thing. It just is goofy and it's fun. And it doesn't take away from the heartwarming moments. It takes a lot of beats from James Gunn's style of comic book writing, which I feel like we need a lot more in these classic comic book stories.
And this isn't just Superman. This is also Guardians of the Galaxy and Peacemaker and Suicide Squad. He has this unbelievable ability to tell a comic book story in modern times. So using like Golden Age characters and storylines, but making you tear up and become emotional because it's so brutal. I hate you for Guardians 3 and the animal torture because it was like, no! Die, humans, die!
I may not have been your father. I was your daddy. And it's like, oh, stop.
And I like how that is the level, I guess I'm saying is we're moving further and further away from like the 90s when it was like, dear God, that's not the comic book version. That's all I have, so I like it, but that's not it.
And in a way, we're kind of doubling back on what was Christopher Reeve's Superman, because that, for the longest time, was the metric that nobody followed for some godforsaken reason, because it was like, it had good humor, it had the heart, and it had the camp, and it had gut-wrenching moments. I mean, Lois getting crushed, and Christopher Reeves as Superman, like, just letting it all out. It had the emotional weight, and a lot of people tend to forget that, because then you have the sequels, which, for better and for worse in some cases, but they were still... Oh, wait, I forgot.
Are you
Superman
kidding me? The AI robot thing in 3?
Yeah, that's why I did...
I know Richard Pryor, the comedian, was in it, but oh my God, there are like 2 things that scar me about Superman. Lois, I was probably 3 or 4.
He doesn't understand how graphs work.
When San Andreas Fault collapsed on Lois.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. She died. She died, folks. I don't know how Superman figured out time travel, but she died.
He made the Earth go backwards.
This is a time where PG-13 didn't exist, so little Jimmy Palmquist saw this and was devastated, much like Jaws, and all they do is laugh. And then by the third one, yes, I was older.
No,
But one sister...
No, I do not disagree with you. 3 is good. I don't think it's as good as the first 2.
I didn't say it was as good.
But it's better than 4. That's why
it becomes comical. It's like...
That's where I did the... That's 1.
Quest for Peace is...
2 is just a little bit better.
I don't know
3,
how...
4 is ass. Nobody... Why would you like 4?
I get Jonathan Cryer feeling like he couldn't break out of being the teen idol thing in the 80s. Trying to do something different. Gene Hackman must have just become a billionaire in modern day times for that movie. I don't know how he was in that
surprised.
movie. I don't know.
And Superman Returns is good.
And Christopher Reeves,
people dog on it.
He gets a pass because he didn't want to see somebody else do it.
Exactly.
And he wanted to have control over what he could. And unfortunately, we got what we got. But I can't imagine if him and Margot Kidder weren't in it to help guide it.
Which unfortunately was still, studio tomfuckery because film is still a business at the end of the day.
I guess at least we got to see that one.
I know, right? Anyways,
thanks, Warner Brothers.
Back to Fantastic Four, as if we haven't gotten off track a lot. There's a lot of great movies this summer, so if you haven't seen Fantastic Four, go see it. Superman was great. Weapons
came out.
Sinners.
Weapons, I've heard a lot. In fact, I will now tell a story. I am old and go to physical therapy, and one of the assistants there, she struck up a relationship. I didn't realize, because usually when you go there, most of these people are like athletes or uber athletes. She loves movies. I'm like, dude, let's talk. And she came out with Weapons the other day as this amazing movie. Have you seen it? And I'm like, I'm old. I don't really get out much. So no, I haven't. But she raved about it. But going back to the Fantastic Four, she was funny because we were talking about that. And I had said, it's my favorite one ever. And she thought I meant Marvel movie. And I'm talking about all the Fantastic Four movies. And there's a slight age difference as she's in her 20s. I'm not. And it was just hilarious to see that look on her face. So it got to, what is your favorite? I was impressed. She pulled out Age of Ultron, which I can almost guarantee she did not see in the theater.
That's awesome.
And it has definitely aged much better than when it first came out.
The first Avengers is all right. It exists and it functions well as an introduction. Age of Ultron is some of the most poignant commentary on artificial intelligence and the creation of sentience I have ever seen, and it only gets better every day we have AI integration. And my God, that confrontation between James Spader's Ultron and, God, what is his name? The dude who plays Vision.
Paul Bettany.
Paul Bettany's Vision, where Ultron is like, well, humanity is doomed. And Paul Bettany's like, so what? It means it's more beautiful because it will end. And it's like, oh, robots! Oh, well, and they have feelings!
And at the time, I will admit, I was part of the problem. I didn't understand this was not like a one-shot. It may seem like it, but what that led to and built up, and once again, it was nothing like the comic books, which was perfect. And I've gotten much more of an appreciation of the fact that it wasn't, because Hank Pym had nothing to do with that. He hadn't been introduced yet. So Tony Stark became the problem, but it boded so well to him wanting to protect the planet from Avengers 1, because he saw the Chitauri coming in and all that stuff, and he had visions of, I can't think of his name now, Thanos, and taking over and just destroying. So he was creating all these suits that became AI to protect and, create a shield around the world.
Yes. And
it blows up armor. Suit of armor, thank you. And it blows up in his face, because Iron Man 3, to me, is very underrated.
Yes.
But then, because it gave us Vision, it goes all the way to WandaVision. And now, as we come up with Vision Quest, it all starts there. Not to mention, what's his name, who loses his arm? He's the arms dealer.
Yes.
Clow.
Andy Serkis.
Yes. Yeah. Isn't it Clow? Because then he's in Black Panther. And it's like, dude, that's awesome that we get to the vibranium, which gets us to Black Panther. It's just, that movie set off so many storylines, even more Thanos, that it's become such a smart movie, where at the time I fell victim to, wait, Avengers is like the greatest team up. What's this? To, wow, I may have chosen poorly.
Yes, and narratively, from a literary analysis point of view, the fact that Ultron is born of Tony's pessimism and fear, and that Vision is born of Banner's hope and humanity, is so beautiful, just as that little touch.
It really is.
Yes.
And so I appreciated her answer to that, and also her other movies. But it was just funny to see her face like, you like Fantastic Four the most of all? I'm like, no, I really do. I really enjoyed it. But it's not the best Marvel movie.
No, I'm sorry. The best is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I will not have any debates on this. Thor
Ragnarok.
I don't disagree with that sentiment.
There's more Zeppelin.
Anyways, back to the original point, because dear God, we have gotten so far away from it.
We're nerds. What do you want from us?
Exactly. Fantastic Four, First Steps, such a beautiful film. So amazing. Visually stunning. I am sorry. I think my favorite CGI in any film ever, aside from Interstellar, has to be this film. Because they did the Silver Surfer so beautifully. She surfs. She actually does the surfing shit. And she does it on lava. She does it on liquefied space. She does it on the accretion disk of a black hole. I'm
concerned with your love of CGI movies that have a black hole as a tremendous focus.
Yeah, if I can't believe I'm
and he hasn't even seen Disney's The Black Hole.
If I had a nickel for every time I watched a movie with good black hole CGI, I'd have 3 nickels, because Superman did a really good, more artsy-fartsy comic version of that was still fun. And it's interesting that both Fantastic Four and Superman had a black hole as a major narrative plot point, but who knows? But I really liked the fact that, to kind of visualize falling into a black hole, you see the different mirrors of her as she falls in, and that was just a cool little touch.
And the stakes, the stakes that were behind this movie, I absolutely understand that Iron Man is super popular now, Captain America is super popular, X-Men have been super popular in the past, Thor's becoming more popular, Guardians of the Galaxy. Fantastic Four is Marvel. It's one and the same. That's what it is, and it hasn't been that way in a long time. As we've said, the movies haven't been great shining. The comic books have had a lot of amazing storylines, but because it's been around since the 60s...
Secret Wars, the first Civil War...
It's definitely had some downside with the stories or repetition.
Demon in a Bottle, Born Again...
When this movie was announced, when the cast was announced, just the stakes kept going up and up, and this could have easily fallen flat on its face.
Yes.
Easily, as previous renditions have. Easily could have. Especially now, at least when the other ones were made, we really didn't have other Marvel MCU movies to compare it to. So this had a lot riding on it, and even though I do enjoy other Marvel movies more, this nailed it. It nailed the landing. 10 out of 10 as far as saying what they needed to accomplish, they did accomplish, and they just opened up the world to another. Unlike the Eternals, they opened up the world more to this thing we hadn't even seen yet, really, in Marvel.
Yes, and as much as I found the narrative a little predictable, at least with the fact that the teleportation would fail and they'd have to confront Galactus on Earth, I could not have seen what was going to happen with Sue Storm. And obviously, immediately in that moment, I figured out what was going to happen thereafter, but I did not see Sue pushing herself to her limits with goddamn mom strength. Because, that was mom strength, motherfuckers. That's why you don't challenge women in a physical contest when it comes to kids.
And I am not putting down men, fathers. I am one of these people. The fact that she could do what she did, and Reed almost caved to some extent because when he was getting stretched, it's mom strength, 100%. It just, shout out to all the women out there, because she literally fought for Franklin to her death.
Yes, and for anybody who's just a little well-versed in the mutant-based side of Marvel, Sue Storm is on par regularly with Omega-level mutants, in that her powers are godly, so she's already pretty goddamn strong. Ben Grimm, he's alright. Johnny has been shown to reach Omega-level feats. Reed, his intellect allows him to breach into the upper echelons, but with powers alone, he's not that strong. He has physical limits of elasticity, which is what we see in this movie. And anybody who says he can stretch however much he wants, that is not true. I don't know what you think he can do. He cannot do that. He is not Plastic Man.
Well, Doctor Strange too.
Exactly.
They used that against him, and he was at the height of what Reed Richards would be in a Marvel universe, in my opinion. But he still got defeated. Yes, he was kind of outwitted, so to speak, but his elasticity worked against him.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that Reed Richards isn't as powerful based on his powers alone. It's his intellect that makes him so powerful, but even then that still fails.
And it's also his weakness at times.
Yes, but oh my gosh, Sue whipping out the mom strength, almost single-handedly kicking Galactus' ass, was incredible. And I genuinely thought for a moment that Johnny was going to make the big sacrifice, and that would have been the impetus for the party then going to 616 trying to solve stuff. Maybe I should have seen the Silver Surfer sacrificing herself to stop Galactus, but I think if Johnny had done it, it would have been just as emotional, but it would have been too much given that Sue would have been the one to pass and then come back, but that's a different thing.
But that's also the sadness we feel, is because not only did Franklin's mom die,
yes,
the mother of the group died.
Right?
I mean,
exactly.
Johnny's sister, but it's really his mom because she's telling him what to do and all that stuff. Did your sister dress you? The emotional centerpiece for both Ben and Reed. Yeah, it was just, it was heartbreaking.
Yes.
When at first you thought, oh my God.
And if you look at it that Reed is the logos, the logic, and you have Johnny and Grimm, they are the pathos. They're kind of the sociable interplay. Sue is the ethos. She is the emotion and the passion. And without 100%. Her, the team falls apart. And we've seen this before. And I love that you get to see Franklin be Franklin, use the power cosmic, and bring his mom back. And it's this beautiful moment. I was in tears. I was crying. I will openly admit to that, because it was such a gut-wrenching, beautiful moment that went from, holy shit, they killed Sue Storm, oh my God, to, yeah, Franklin, woo!
And to what I imagined would be like the 6th movie in the franchise, that we finally see Franklin's abilities rush to the ending with, oh, who's at the end just chatting with Franklin? Doom. Oh my. And the only reason that's possible is because we already saw Franklin use his powers.
I know, and I really appreciate that they didn't hide it. They didn't make it this whole thing. They were like, oh yeah, Franklin has the power cosmic. Yeah, we're not hiding this. We're just jumping straight into it. And it's super nice, because for a long time in Marvel's history, cosmic-based stories have been attempts at high concept with diminishing returns.
What do you mean, the Eternals?
I meant in the comics. But no, Eternals definitely struggled with itself. But I mean, like, their most successful property...
You're talking about Inhumans?
Shut up. The most successful property they had, space-wise, was Guardians of the Galaxy. And even then, that was not as popular as a lot of what else they had.
No. I am still shocked James Gunn was allowed to make that movie, because who the hell makes a movie about the Guardians?
I know, yeah.
Yeah, it was a great comic book as it was relaunched by, I think, Brian Michael Bendis. Mm-hmm. I can't remember, but yeah. But who the hell makes a movie about it?
I know, right?
Oh my God.
And takes the characters that were incorporated and creates a much better rendition, because Star-Lord was douchebag space Jesus. Gamora was actually not really prevalent. She was very important in the original Infinity War. Go read it. It's so campy. I love it. So was Nebula. Nebula wasn't...
Death of me. Sorry.
Nebula wasn't really that important. Actually, in the movie, but in the comics, she is the one who gets the gauntlet back from Thanos, which is wow. And then you have Rocket, Groot, and Drax, who are all so different in the comics before they're included. And then in Volume 2,
Yondu in the original was the leader.
I know, and he was from a far-flung future that didn't exist. So it was so cool to see that the Ravagers, that version, is now the original Guardians, and it's this whole thing. Yeah. And then later in Volume 2, where he brings in Mantis, whose biggest claim to fame before the film was being a sex slave for Kang so that they could create another Space Jesus. And then Ego, whose biggest claim to fame was being a douche. It's so nice to see that Gunn can take these characters and give them depth.
But what's awesome is this does tie back to the Fantastic Four.
Exactly.
Because as he was writing Volume 2, he wrote in Ego, not knowing Marvel Films did not own Ego. Fox did. Mm-hmm. So they had to make a swap switch, buy the rights to Ego, which in my opinion helped push along getting back Daredevil, Punisher, Ghost Rider. then we'll just buy the whole damn thing.
Exactly. And James Gunn is a good goddamn Fantastic Four villain poacher, because Ego and High Evolutionary are very infamous Fantastic Four heroes. High Evolutionary more so. So it was interesting to see that he sniped them both.
But another one that James really appreciated, which got thrown under the bus, I don't know why, Thor 4. Why?
Why do you hate it? Why? It's fun.
But how does this tie in?
Where are you going with this?
At the end.
Oh, yes! Because I'm a dumbass. Eternity. I love Eternity as a character, because their inclusion in Thor Love and Thunder blows open the cosmic scale. The Eternals kind of did that, but Eternity is like even stronger.
Well, let's talk about another summer release earlier on, Cap 4.
Yes.
We finally start discussing the Eternals again.
Right. And that was a good movie. Everybody can shut up about complaining about it. It was fun. I had fun watching Harrison Ford play himself.
I was surprised at how much I enjoyed that, and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be.
The twist was well thought out.
Yeah.
And
monkeys.
Yeah, it probably could have done better as a Hulk film. But Captain America and Hulk have a lot of overlap in the comics, so don't come at us with that crap.
And I loved the new dynamic we have with Falcon, now as Captain America. I enjoyed Falcon and Winter Soldier. Mm-hmm. I did. I liked it. I was kind of disappointed that Winter Soldier was now in Thunderbolts because he wasn't in Cap 4. Mm-hmm. Whatever. But I really enjoyed what we have now as Captain America, because it's not the 100% wholesome Chris Evans naivety. It's a dude who's lived a rough life and has been to modern war, and now he's Captain America.
Yes.
But he's grappling with the fact he's living in the shadow of this dude who is amazing, not just in legend, but fought next to him and knows exactly what he stands for.
And Sam Wilson, without question, is the perfect successor to Captain America.
100%.
Because he embodies the core values of Cap. One of the best stories ever was initiated by Frank Miller with Daredevil's Born Again, after a insane Vietnam veteran who was given super soldier serum is set loose on New York by Kingpin to mess with Daredevil. Captain America and Iron Man come in, and there's this gorgeous panel where you have Daredevil and Iron Man is standing in the rain like, go away, Daredevil, this is no longer your problem. And then you have Cap come in and echo the same sentiment, and it leads into a story where Cap starts to realize the dark shit the government is doing. Yep. And Captain America doesn't fight for America, he fights for truth and justice and the good stuff, not the creepy bad shit. So he is not unwilling to question the U.S. government when it does bad shit, which is exactly what Sam Wilson does. So they are perfect.
And in comics, that movie was Civil War. Yes. Led to Civil War, which is, again, nothing like the movie, nothing like the comic books. Two beautiful, different stories that get across the same point. In fact, I would argue the movie does it slightly better because they had less of the characters to be able to use, and they put that wedge in between Captain America and Iron Man, the two big proponents of that universe, and we don't see a resolution until Endgame.
Exactly. And that...
Well, I will say Infinity War, but yes, Endgame.
But that's why Sam Wilson is the perfect successor, because Steve knew Sam had the intelligence and the courage to question things when they weren't right, which is what Steve has done for decades. So do not say Sam Wilson is a bad successor. No. Do not. You sound like an idiot.
Well, and just, I went in, and I don't think we're at spoiler level now because it's been out long enough. Yes, the window of spoilers has shrunk. But I went in fully expecting Rulk, as our compatriot Brandon would say, as the bad guy. He's the big baddie. Great. We know everything's seeing. They showed it in the trailer. Marvel, you made your first misstep on showing us everything in the movie. Great. Hulk's the bad guy.
No.
I loved how they brought back Tim Blake Nelson.
Yes.
And talk about waiting for the right moment. 2008 finally comes back. Wow, how impressive.
His version of the leader is just so gross, so creepy. I love it. I love how well he just comes off as the narcissist douche that the leader absolutely is. And I love the fact that he advocates for himself, that is like, I'm so smart, I'm so good, I thought everything out. And he's like, I did this because I'm so smart. And it's Lex Luthor's level of petty, where it's like, no, dude, you just did it because you're a dick and you hate.
Well, even Greek mythology, going way back. Like,
I know.
You're flying too close to the sun, bro. Like, dude, there is a problem with your plan. I don't know what it is, but it's going to come out at some point.
You're not playing a super brilliant shadow government game. You're being petty.
Yeah.
And you don't think that, but you are. And
we've
gotten so far away from the original topic.
No, we were talking about summer movies.
Yeah, fair argument. If in that case, we should definitely bring up a little bit of Thunderbolts.
We've kind of talked about this before, and more information has come out from the director. I didn't realize that there were some edits, rewrites due to the writers' strike. I did not know that.
Executive Tom Fuckery.
Yeah. Apparently that is where and when Taskmaster was killed off. I'm not exactly sure what her story was going to be.
Thank you, Marvel executives, not Kevin Feige. You're fine.
That still drives me nuts. Like, I get it. Whatever. Okay. I get the backlash. People didn't necessarily like her. But from a standpoint, storytelling standpoint, it was weak. It was like Deadpool was going to come out. I'm like, oh, wow, that's a shortcut.
It was a cop-out.
It was.
Without question. It is the textbook definition of cop-out. Because either if you don't know the story that it was due to extraneous events, it appears lazy writing. That you have a character that can literally mimic other people's moves, and they were too afraid to have to write for that, which...
the only human in the room is the one that kills her.
I know. No, Ghost. Ghost kills her.
No, I thought it was Yelena.
Ghost. No, why would Yelena kill her own
comrade? I thought she was shooting in that way, and Ghost moved, and it hit.
No, I'm pretty sure Ghost just point blank.
I missed it.
Popped.
I forgot.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
But it's a cop-out. And from a standpoint of how do you write Taskmaster, they had the perfect answer. You can't mimic Sentry because Sentry has superpowers. And so you could have written that Taskmaster didn't have the experience yet to deal with superpowered foes, which you notice a lot of the time in comics, Taskmaster runs away from superpowered characters and often refuses to fight Moon Knight and Deadpool because they're just clinically insane.
Well,
will not take on super soldiers because he likes living, and refuses superhuman threats because he knows he will not live long enough.
That's one of the reasons why I'm very disappointed, and I get we have Secret Wars and Doomsday coming up where we're getting a whole bunch of battle planet and shit, whatever. So a version of Taskmaster could fight a version of Deadpool. That's what I wanted to see. When I got her killed, I was like,
I want
my
the
fanboy
Deadpool
fantasy.
I want so desperately the Spider-Man, Deadpool, Moon Knight team up because those three are comic gold.
Can I just... It makes no sense other than there's a Spider-Man Daredevil connection. I'd like Daredevil in there.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Because you have Peter, who's the kind-hearted, innocent child of the group. You have Daredevil, who's the straight man, who's tired of everybody's shit. You have Deadpool, who's Deadpool. And then you have Moon Knight, who's the insane man who has...
Which one?
Frank Castle.
Which one? Oh!
You have to throw in Punisher.
Like I just said, I rewatched the 2 seasons. That is some of the best writing on television, I know it was Netflix, that I've ever seen. First season, by far, is amazing. Second season is good, just not as good. Fantastic writing. I can't wait to see what John Barenthal does with that. And now rewatching it, I'm like, ooh, I hope he brings some of these people back.
Yes.
Awesome.
And those 5 create for some of the best comic moments ever, because if you throw them all in a room together, you have Frank Castle, Deadpool, and Moon Knight, who are the feral murder hobos, so to speak. You have Daredevil, who is the tired dad, and then you have Peter, who's just happy to be included.
And the 2 that refuse to kill.
Exactly. So you have the 2 that never, ever kill, and then you have the 3 that have no qualms with killing people. And it's very much like the dynamic between Deadpool and Colossus in the films, where it's like, wait, 4 or 5 moments. Do not kill him. What the fuck? Yeah, I really hope we get to see a lot of those interactions, because those 5 together create for so many funny moments. And if I don't get my goddamn Deadpool Spider-Man or Moon Knight Spider-Man or Frank Castle Spider-Man or Daredevil Spider-Man or any of that, I'm gonna lose it.
For some reason, I vaguely remember, and this is the sucky thing about internet rumors, I vaguely remember reading something along the lines of a Punisher showing up in Spider-Man. But I don't know if it was that or if it was Spider-Man showing up in Punisher.
I feel like we should definitely see Daredevil. I'm not against Frank Castle and Punisher showing up in the new Spider-Man. I think that'd be really good to almost have,
especially since it's first day.
Ironically,
a new day, sorry.
Brand new day. Angel Devil playing shoulders, which I know, ironic that Daredevil will be playing the angel on Peter's shoulder. But if you have that dynamic where Peter is caught between Frank Castle's philosophy and Matt Murdock's philosophy, you can then create a very interesting conflict. And is Kingpin set up to be the villain of Brand New Day?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, no, because I've heard this one, and I think this wasn't true. Scorpion is showing up, and we've gotten allusions to him way back in Homecoming, I believe it was.
Yes.
So interesting. I don't know if that's the only one. And what's funny is with the Marvel MCU version of, it's hard to say we haven't really had his big hitters because they were all in the last movie, but they weren't his.
Yeah.
They were Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's villains. So I'm curious to see who it is. Scorpion. It's almost like Rhino.
Well,
really? Okay.
What I would wager to guess might happen is that Kingpin is hiring Scorpion to kill Spidey, which we see a lot in the animated shows, is that you have the Kingpin hiring arms to take out Spidey because, Spidey's being happy-go-lucky, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, thwarting Kingpin's attempts at so many things.
Which it could be, because I counted again just to make sure, because I just watched No Way Home again. Mm-hmm. You can argue 6 if you really want to, but really there's 5. Mm-hmm. So it's not the Sinister Six yet. So does Kingpin get influenced like, we don't know who this Peter Parker fool is, but I saw Spider-Man against 5 guys. Nope, couldn't do it. Maybe 6.
That would be the greatest comedy ever. Sir, he took on 5 people single-handedly. Anybody have any ideas? 6. 6 people. What if we throw in a 6th one?
And who could we bring back?
Mysterio. What? Venom.
Green Vulture. Goblin. Michael Keaton, dude.
I thought he ended up in the Venom universe.
Well, that's another weird thing, because I'm watching it again, and Venom's at the end, and I'm like, I saw Venom 3, and they did this, but now I have no idea where Venom is.
But, I mean, at this point, I would not be surprised if what they're setting up for with Secret Wars is Tobey gets the symbiote suit, and you have the setup of the Sinister Six at the end of Brand New Day, where you have Scorpion.
You said Tobey. Did you mean Tobey?
Not Tobey. I am so sorry.
Okay.
Tom Holland.
I love Tobey, but he's a little long in the tooth at this moment to go full movie as a web slinger or a symbiote slinger.
Wrong one. Tom Holland.
Okay.
You set it up that Tom Holland's Spidey gets the symbiote suit in Secret Wars, because that's one of the big things with the 1984 run.
One of the only things about the 1984 run.
Well, that and Doom, the origins of God Doom, which was...
Go read it. Support a local comic book store.
Yes, support a local comic book store. Buy the 2016 run. It's way better, I promise.
Get both. You have to.
Actually, you're required.
Why buy one when you get 2 for twice the price?
If you live in Las Vegas, Nevada, go support Maximum Comics. We love you, Jay. Anyways, back to the original point. I would not be surprised if what they're setting up is some form of the Sinister Six, obviously with the Scorpion, maybe with the Vulture, maybe with some form of Venom if they do it fast enough.
I just remembered, because I was on a plane and on a family vacation, so I had a lot of time. Mm-hmm. Watched Homecoming. Prowler.
That is true. We could definitely see Prowler as a mainstay in this. I honestly wouldn't be against them finding a way to rope back in Mysterio, because Mysterio's a good asset in the Sinister Six. Shut up. In the Sinister Six lineup. So there's a way for them to create another Quentin Beck, which I would love if they did some animatronic bullshit and made like a robot copy. Not like bring back Jake Gyllenhaal, but create a robotic version of Mysterio.
And you could, because you have all the tech.
Exactly.
Stuff.
Which
Tony Stark tech. But we have a dude who's very close to Peter Parker, who's no longer with Peter Parker, who is a villain in the comic books, or at least named similarly, like exactly the same.
Methinks you're referencing the Hobgoblin.
I am Ned Leeds, and I don't know if you've seen, I don't know the actor's name off the top of my head because I'm forgetting everything left and right. But if you've seen him recently, he has lost a lot of weight. looks completely different. If they write him in, and I don't know if he's in it yet or not, we could have a Hobgoblin. And one of the last things he said in No Way Home, I'm never going to be your villain or whatever. I'm never going to kill you or whatever. Yeah. What do you do in movies? You make a rule, then you break it.
Exactly. That's the thing about writing. Fuck the rules. Sometimes the rules are actually really good to have.
So that would be hilarious if they did it. I would love if they make Rhino in this, whether it's Paul Giamatti or not, or whatever. But just the fact that Andrew Garfield made that reference, I thought of the rhinoceros.
It has to be Paul Giamatti.
I would love that.
Because then you can have Tom be like, oh my God.
I just love that.
Oh my God. He fought a fucking rhino. The rhino was an actual thing. It wasn't a joke.
Yeah. He's all worried that I was fighting aliens. He fought this. Wow.
And the best part is, Peter could get his ass kicked by the rhino and be like, why did he make it sound like it was a joke?
That would be.
I think Venom would be super funny to have in there, because then he could be like, Jesus Christ! This is some alien bullshit.
Well, and that's where I don't know how they're going to do this, because we do have at least a glob of Venom in this universe. I love Tom Hardy as Venom. I'm not saying I like the Venom movies more than anything else in the world, but I enjoy Tom Hardy as Venom, and I enjoyed 1 and 3. I would love Tom Hardy to be Venom. I don't know how that Venom exists in the 616.
I think that's definitely going to be an issue, because the only adversary they don't have an Eddie Brock, but they do have a Flash Thompson. But Flash Thompson in the comics is the best rendition of Venom. I will fight tooth and nail on this.
I'm still mad Sony screwed that up. It's like, why not make Agent Venom?
I know,
Come
right?
on, man.
Agent Venom is my favorite version of Venom ever, because he's such a brilliant take on Flash Thompson as the wounded war vet, who has seen the horrors of war and is being given a second chance to do the right thing, so to speak.
And he's government controlled to a point, because he's got a symbiote suit.
And what's awesome is that you get to see that Flash has been absolutely humbled by his time, but he's not shy with being the rebellious jackass.
And no offense, I can't remember the actor's name again, to the current Flash Thompson, I don't see him being Agent Venom. But if you go all the way back to the Tobey Maguire version, that Flash Thompson, oh yeah, I'd love to see that.
If they ever do Agent Venom, I just hope they do it right, because Agent Venom is so much fun as a character.
For sure.
But what they're setting up with that, I wouldn't be surprised if they have a tease towards the Sinister Six or Kingpin. I think Tombstone could definitely be a big thing. I know you think Tombstone is stupid.
He was great in the 90s animated version of Spider-Man. I will give you that.
You're not going to bring up the Spectacular Spider-Man or Spider-Man, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man?
I said what I said.
I liked him in that too. Tombstone was good in those too.
That Kurt Russell movie was good though.
I can't argue with that. Anyways, my God, we have gotten so far off the point.
No, we're still in future summer movies. They've started shooting Spider-Man, so that's what we're talking about.
Fuck it. At this point, Blade, I believe news is that it has a new writer.
I believe it's back on the schedule, which if you watch us regularly, you'll realize that it was off the schedule recently. So that was news.
Blade is like every one of my friends who have no idea how dating should work, relationships have gone on and off.
Yeah, it's weird. And I am shocked that Mahershala Ali has stuck with it, because he's so amazing. And I almost wonder if this goes back to he was supposed to be in Star Wars Solo, and he couldn't because they were conflicting schedule when he had to reshoot.
Yeah.
So Paul Bettany ironically stepped in. So he couldn't be in it, and I can only imagine the regret of not being in a Star Wars movie.
Oh,
so I'm wondering if he's like, I refuse to give up Blade. I don't care what Wesley Snipes said in Deadpool. I'm not giving it up.
Yeah, I applaud the commitment, because that takes balls and effort and all sorts of bullheadedness to stick with something, especially in something as fickle as the superhero movie industry. Which I just really hope the writers do Blade justice, because the original Blade is fantastic. Blade Trinity is, but it's still all right. I mean that from like the standpoint of the shit that happened behind the scenes.
That showed us that Ryan Reynolds could be Deadpool.
No, that was Wolverine Origins.
No. Third Blade, he was one of the sidekicks.
Oh, I know he was in the third Blade.
With my girlfriend, Jessica Biel from A-Team. And that, to me, showed, oh my God, this dude can be a badass action star, not just two guys and a girl in a pizza place, and can be witty as hell while he's killing people.
And then he proceeded to take Green Lantern on as a project.
Again, going back to Ali, he passed up Star Wars. If he passed up Green Lantern, you'd be regretting it for the last ends of your breath. Because even if Green Lantern that came out starred somebody else, but it was the same crap movie, he would have thought I could do better. I'm bummed that I didn't take that on.
Okay. Well, anyways.
Just saying.
No, I just don't like the fact that Blade Trinity had to deal with the classic executives being assholes behind the scenes. Yeah. Which the movie itself is pretty good. It just sucks that you have Wesley Snipes falling out of favor with Blade because the executives want to stick their dick in a pie, American Pie reference, and, you know, have no other thoughts other than money in 90% of cases, which I'm not saying that's the status quo, but I am saying it's pretty damn common.
Another thing that kind of goes along with what we're saying, since we're all over the map right now, is there seems to be a return to comic-accurate costumes.
Yes!
And some of the photos we've seen, again, we're going off of assumption that some of this is true. I saw one of Ben Affleck's Daredevil and Charlie Cox's Daredevil, and it was beautiful.
So can we please get Tom Cruise Superior Iron Man? That's all I ask.
There's rumors.
That's all I ask. Yeah. Obviously, Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider. Well, and Ryan Gosling is Ghost Rider rumor.
Yeah.
I'm not against that at all.
I don't know how to feel about that because he's also going to be in Star Wars.
Paul Bettany was in both. Harrison Ford was in both.
No, but I'm talking about their dedication to what movies can come.
That is true.
Not necessarily because they finished their role in one and we're doing the other. And yeah, that's what I mean.
If it's relatively the same studio, it shouldn't be that.
And then of course Barbie 2. Like how, dude?
If they make a Barbie 2, I'm going to laugh so hard.
Fall Guy 2?
Because they would have missed the point of the original Barbie. And
he's already got too many sequels that I need to see.
Blade Runner 2099.
That's fine. I don't need to see that.
We have our frustrations with 2049.
No, we don't. It doesn't exist.
Case in point. Yeah. Yeah, I really appreciate the move towards comic accuracy. I don't hate some of the fun costumes that came up. Like, I really appreciated Captain America's Endgame and Infinity War costume because it really worked to enhance his things, to enhance the narrative and just his identity. I always love Bucky's outfit because the whole point is that the metal arm is accentuated with all black.
And mind you, when we say bad costumes, we're talking about like the X-Men in the 2000s. Like,
really, guys?
What? Bryan Singer, what?
Did you expect us to wear? What did you expect us to wear? Yellow spandex? Yeah!
That would have been nice, please. Yeah, so these are the kind of costumes that were like, even the joke with the Green Lantern being CG and all that is, yeah. That's why we're kind of happy that we finally get to see Wolverine as Wolverine.
In the yellow cowl is just so
and then all the renditions
beautiful.
Of Wolverine.
And it got shit on because all of you suck. But She-Hulk's costume, so good. Not to mention her suit.
Please watch the series and don't just say you hate it. It was fun.
Yeah, it was
so much fun.
It was good. Kamala Khan's outfit.
Miss Marvel, also fun.
Yes, such a good
Not marketed to me or him. Still fun.
Such a good comic accurate take. Same with the Marvels. Very good comic accurate take. Thor Love and Thunder. His suit was absolutely based on the dumbass like fish scales, whatever.
Even
Jane Foster's outfit. I love that they incorporated the weird eclectic masks and not the like wing masks.
And the fucking donkey, whatever things that were.
Yes, the goats. It's
goats, thank you. Which is Norse mythology, 100%.
Yes.
Fucking hilarious.
Yeah, don't tell me Thor Love and Thunder is weird because it incorporates that. Loki, for lack of better terms, had relations with a horse and gave birth to an 8-legged steed that was Odin's steed in Ragnarok. That is actual Greek mythology, not Greek.
Not Norse.
That is actual Norse mythology. Don't come at me telling the comic book crap is stupid.
He got confused because in Love and Thunder, Zeus is there. They see all the gods, which is still one of my favorite scenes ever.
Oh,
sorry, Carpenter.
Look, the god of carpentry. Oh my gosh, I am so excited to see Hercules Heracles, and it's what is
Brett
that?
Goldsey.
Yes, he is going to do it so well.
If you haven't, this is a part. Go watch his stand-up on HBO. And if you haven't seen Ted Lasso, what is wrong with you? If you haven't seen Shrinking, what is wrong with you? But yes, so I'm excited to see when he first showed up, and I knew him only as his character on Ted Lasso. I was like, okay.
I don't know if Roy can do this.
Yeah, maybe it's just a little cameo. But now that I've seen more, I am excited to see what he's going to do with Hercules.
Yes, and that is also leading up to more Marvel Pantheon stuff, which I absolutely love when they go into that, because that's also a lot of fun to delve into. And again, they brought up Eternity, which is, if any of you are wondering about comic book power scaling, you have the Eternals, you have the Titans, and the Titans are like Eros.
They're teenagers, right?
No. Eros.
I took them longer than I would have thought.
Shut up. You have Thanos, Eros. I don't know if they'll do traditional Titans. That's iffy on what they'll go with. You then have the Eternals, and then you have the Celestials, and then you have Eternity, and then you have the One Above All, and it's really weird power scaling, but Eternity and now Galactus introduce the upper echelon of the Marvel pantheon of gods, so to speak.
Where do you think they're going with that?
Oh, I know absolutely where they're going with
Nowhere.
That. Shut up!
I'm on fire, folks.
Nowhere's dead. Guess I bet they're going.
Yeah, duh! I bet they're going nowhere fast. Well, they did in the third volume. They brought him out of.
Anyways, but it's really interesting to see where they're going with this, because I definitely see the introduction of the now upper echelon of Marvel goddom as then the Beyonder, and no, the Beyonder's DC. Where
I don't know where
fuck am I going with this?
Well, I was going to say a little earlier, don't lose your train of thought. Because of Superman, we have some positivity in the DC universe that I'm excited to see more. And it's literally been since Man of Steel. Again, I'm not saying it's the greatest movie ever, but I thoroughly enjoyed that I've been like, oh man, I can't wait to see what DC does next. And leaving the theater at this Superman, and I get it, there's a lot of haters.
I was right. The Beyonder, sorry.
I left the smile. Left the theater with a smile on my face.
Exactly. Superman was so heartwarming. Go read our articles on it, because our lovely writers who actually have the time and effort to dedicate to writing an article.
Whoa, can we just rewind there back and be positive, because you made an awesome video essay
about
what it's like to be
deprecating.
And I was going back to No Way Home.
I'm lazy. I don't want to write an article. I'd rather put in the time and effort to. I don't know.
I know you've only ever faced the rhinoceros, but dude, can we rewind that and just you're a great co-host.
Shut up. Anyways, he loves me and I hate it.
I did not say that.
I deny this. The Beyonder initiates the 1984 Secret Wars, sets it up, and then the Beyonders are basically Marvel's creation myth deities, and that's a huge thing that they might be moving towards, especially with Secret Wars, is that they're going to set up the 2016 run with God Doom.
So what we're trying to say is there's a lot of shit going on. It's been an awesome summer. If you watch this whole video, kudos. We want to hear your summer movies. We still have not seen Naked Gun yet. Honestly, laugh all you want. We haven't seen Freaky Friday, which I like because I saw the original, and I've seen the Jamie
Lee Curtis.
Well, there's another original, but then the Jamie Lee Curtis original, I'm curious to see. But let us know what you guys have seen, what your favorites have been, what you're doing. We love seeing movies, and we obviously love nerding out. We literally just started talking about Fantastic Four, and I don't know how long we've been going, but we've touched upon a whole bunch of other things. Yes. So let us know what you guys think in the comments below, and hit us up.
And do your homework. Support your local comic shops. Read what is being set up. You can only just get the 2016 run of Secret Wars, but absolutely read some comic books. Look into what they're setting up so you have an idea of where they're going. Support your local comic shops.